All right, peace, family. This is Brandon B. Dixon. You're tuned into another episode of the Power of Ownership podcast. Um, I got my guest host Stephen Contreras here with me as well.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yes, sir. Know it's been a long time coming. We got the other show, There's No Spoon, going on right now as well. So that's we've been kind of preoccupied with launching that show. But for those who's first tuning in, this is the Power of Ownership podcast where we talk about ownership not only of the mind, body, and soul, but businesses, uh, properties, intellectual property, so on and so forth. Um, my name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a mortgage broker. I am a published author. My book, I should have this already propped up, but Sales the Nucleus of Any Profession is out right now on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Go ahead and copy that. Um, and we just talk about stuff that's give you working tools in order to better your life and better your position in this particular society. I'm gonna let Steve go ahead and introduce himself, and we're gonna finish the 48 Laws of Power. Finally, I know y'all guys have been waiting on it.
Yeah, so I'm Steven Contreras here, a geologist in Houston, Texas. Kind of like the studier of the arts and sciences, like a Renaissance man. Just trying to show people how to play the game, 48 laws of power, that's why we're here, right? If you
Got
want
you.
to play the game, you gotta learn them, you gotta learn the rules.
Well, again, we did the 48 Laws of Power series. It's one of my favorite books by Robert Greene. And initially, like I said, this coming from where you had minimal guidance. You had kind of searching for light and searching for stuff to knowledge to help you better yourself. And this is one of the great reads that I came across. And right now, we're gonna finish the last 14. We're not gonna take you too long. We're gonna kind of briefly go through them real fast, and we just gonna chime in on both of them, and then both of us gonna chime in on each law, and then we're gonna roll to the next one. We're not gonna keep you too long tonight. Um, we finished off with 35, which is master the art of timing, and it says time is a human man-made concept, but what I took this as when I first read it is that be patient. You know, everything kind of comes in due time, um, but as I kind of grew older a little bit, it's a matter of I take it more as people skills, as far as knowing when to say stuff, knowing when not to say stuff. Timing as far as when you're dealing with people. And again, I'm not gonna keep it too long. Keep it brief. Go ahead, chime in on that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, timing is everything. You gotta learn how to work time, use time, not worry about time. Time is very tricky. It's one of the hardest things to master. But once you learn how to do it, you can train. Like say, for instance, like something's going to happen, so you got to always be prepared for the timing. Like just like if maybe something might not happen, but if you're prepared and you have the right timing, you can move on that action very quickly instead of procrastinating or missing the time. So I'd say in a short whole series, is timing is everything. And you have to learn how to use time to your advantage.
Right. And like I said, that's kind of how I took it. It's just a matter of everything doesn't necessarily have to be said up front, especially when you're dealing with people. Um, it's just let stuff settle in and let some stuff naturally flow into its place. So master our time. That's pretty simple. Law didn't change that much. But it changed a little bit. 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge.
It's true.
I mastered this. Real quickly, I go into it. Almost too much. I don't like this law anymore. Um, I grew up in a household, and that's how we did. When we were mad at each other, we'll just stop talking and ignore each other. So this law was right up my alley. Like disdain things you cannot get to agree with you. We would take it too far. Disdain things that you can't have your way with. So and then you ignore them. So and it's leaked all the way out to adulthood. Like even when I read this um, 17 years ago, I think that's kind of immature now. Um, now that I look at it, I think you should always deal with your problems as an adult. And if you have a problem with somebody, always approach them. Let's talk it out. Let's not ignore each other. and and see what we can either agree to disagree, and go from there. But I used to, like I said, even with girlfriends and stuff like that, when I didn't, I try to ignore them and not talk to them and stuff like that, and when we get into arguments and stuff like that. So I loved this law at one point. Now I hate it, and I grew this law. I think there's a better way.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when they say they teach us when we're younger the silent treatment,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So I used to like this law as well. I mean, I'll still use it for enemies and stuff because I don't agree with violence or anger or raising my voice. And so, like, sometimes if I'm mad at someone, I will not talk to them. But if you have to, like, work with that person, or you have to, if you see this person like all the time, you interact with them all the time, I do agree communication is always the best solution to solve any problem. But for things instead of like, say if someone who can't control their emotions very well, or they get angry and burst out, it's never the right option. You should always, if the best revenge is the silent treatment, because it's making them think that, oh, he's always thinking about you, and like you're not talking to them, so that's creating the anxiety. And it's actually a pretty effective tactic to I guess stop or smash your enemy.
I disagree. I think people have caught up with that law, and it's not as neutralizing as it once was. I think when you go silent, they like, yes, I got you. I got exactly what you wanted to do. I think you show more growth and show more maturity when I'm gonna sit there and talk to you like nothing ever happened. Like nothing that you can do it bothers me, and I agree to disagree. So I'm gonna kind of try to neutralize you by outgrown manning you, as opposed to, because I think silent treatment is more like female energy.
For sure.
Females
But
will go rogue and go silent, because she don't have the working tools to talk it out, or she don't have the training to talk
yeah,
it
but
out.
what if someone doesn't want to listen to you and you try to talk it out?
Well, I'll say something to the effect of, hey, listen, we're both grown, let's go ahead and talk out,
But someone might not be grown though.
Right,
They're an adult, but they don't have the education,
right,
and they
right.
don't care.
But see how I'm kind of embarrassing you and kind of calling you out, like, hey, listen, us as both adults, we could go ahead and talk this out, and let's come to a head, or even agree to disagree. Are you with that? If you ignore it, then you seem more like the female, you seem more like the child. So I got an upper hand of you, as opposed to me being silent and you knowing that you affected me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
So
I'm dealing with this issue right now, but it's like, yeah, it's intense.
right. So if you go silent, you kind of you let them know that you affected me.
Yeah,
You just
but they're gonna keep on talking anyway, so I just ignore it.
all right, all right. I mean, yeah, we'll agree. We'll have to come back to that one. But I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
changed my philosophy. I used to love this, ignoring people. This doesn't work. I mean, it works. It makes them. It seems more female nowadays. Back then it probably worked, but nowadays with social media and stuff, it doesn't. It's not as effective as it once was. My
no,
personal.
I agree.
Um,
And you're right, it is a maturity thing too, because like the people who I deal with sometimes they're like not very mature at all, and like I can't get through to, even if I try to talk it out, I can't get through to them. So
right,
it's a waste of energy to keep on trying.
right. Well, again, you could, if you a master of everything, you could kind of get them to see their flaws by you being like the big brother, you being like, I'm the elder statesman, I am the god in this
It's hard
situation.
though. It's
Right.
hard.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. But that's where the maturity come in. You know.
Mhm.
37. Create compelling spectacles.
This is a
Uh,
good one.
the thing I took it, and it was similar to a lot earlier. You got to recreate yourself, and um, always seek attention, and attention. Just like the Barnum and Bailey brothers. There's no such thing as bad press. So long as they spell my name right, it's all good attention. So that's how I took it when I first read this law. Create spectacles, gather attention, become an attention whore, and that will help build your brand. Um, I'm mature now to create compelling. I really emphasize on the compelling spectacles instead of just creating spectacles. Before it was just creating a spectacle. Any type of spectacle will do, but the negative spectacle won't. I disagree with the Barnum and Bailey brothers. Negative press nowadays, especially with the social media age, yes, it can help increase your brand, but it also could tear your brand up. Look at Bill Cosby, look at
Mm-hmm.
R. Kelly's and all these guys that did all this wicked stuff. Any press is not good press. This could destroy your brand.
Yeah, you're almost like you're controlled by the press at that point, right?
Right. So look at what Jesse Smollett. So he was trying to use this law right here, creating a spectacle with the fake robbery, the botched robbery, and it backfired in his face. Now it made
Yeah.
him a household name, but let's see if it helps him with how he wanted it with jobs and stuff like that. So my thing now, the summer I'm gonna go ahead and give it back to you, is that create spectacles, but make it compelling, make it something that people could touch people and touch your audience in a positive light.
Yeah, I agree. I like this one too. Just like be a good showman, too. Like you're creating that show for everyone to watch. And it's like what we're doing right here with the Power of Ownership. We're trying to create a spectacle. We're trying to get our names out there. Even with the spectacle itself, like the background noise that we have, like you have your ships, you got gunmen, waves. I have a Buddha right there and a lava lamp. Just we're trying to create those visual spectacles on a small scale, so then in the long term it'll become a big scale or grander scale.
Gotcha. Let's go to think as you but behave like others.
Yeah.
I struggled with this law when I first heard it because like mentally I'm so light years ahead of everybody. Not no ego or anything like that, but just actual factual. It's hard. That's why Stephen Contreras and I kind of clicked together. We couldn't be from more opposite backgrounds, but it's hard to find somebody that's share the same vision or the same kind of in a similar mind frame than you. Not even the same, but similar mind frame. There's so many people caught up in this particular system. So many people caught up in this particular this being a sheep. We talked about this earlier in the show earlier. They love being sheep. So it's hard for me to behave like a sheep. So I had a problem with this that then. I still have a problem with it now. Now, what I've done to get better at this law is that I could be a god in disguise. And what it means is that I don't have to flex my intellectual prowess on everybody. Nowadays I can let people be dumb. Hey, all right, you're a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And
Do your thing.
it doesn't bother you either,
Doesn't
right?
bother me as much. I used to try to flex on everybody because this coming up as with the stereotypes. You know, big dark jock playing football and stuff. Everybody assume that you're a dumbass. Everybody assume that you're a dummy. And then when I flex some of my vocabulary on them, and I flex some of my philosophies on them, blow. And
Yeah.
I used to love that. I come in, boom, I quote something, blah, 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 and then just get this glassy eyed look. I used to love that, but now it's whatever, man. So that's my point on that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, you gotta blend in. I've gotten a lot better at this. I actually like play a game with myself. I'm not trying to blend in nowadays. Like just see if I can do it. Like it's like a little test. Like can I just blend in and just act the part if I need to act the part? Like if it makes it easier for everyone else around me for me to play dumb, then I'll play dumb. Even though I know it's like a little game, I guess. In a way, I don't know if that's messed up or not. But I mean, it's an easy way to like bring yourself not down, but like be able to relate to more people. I guess is a better way to put it. Because like you said, most people don't think like we do, and so like to be able to be relatable, you have to tone it down. You have to walk in the sheep's clothing a lot of times. I've been trying to get better at doing that, and I think I've done a pretty good job so far.
Right. I mean, it's even at like family reunions and different stuff like that. I just learned how to tone it down. I don't have to preach sermons on everything and analyze everything and make people try to see stuff my way. I can let them live and let them eat their pork and let them eat their chicken sandwiches and let them be, man. Let them do their thing. So it's,
And they always come back too. Like even because subconsciously they know
right,
that right?
right,
And eventually they'll always come back knocking, be like, hey, what happened? You told me something a long time ago, blah 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 blah, and they're like, yeah, hey, yeah, it still applies. This is what I was trying to teach you, even back then.
right, right. So yeah, I just turned it down a little bit. 39. We're moving. Stir up the waters to catch a fish. Um, my mentor was great at that. I sucked at that because I um, didn't apply it right. I always, used to. I always did kind of come across like, especially with my intellect, come across as arrogant. So with me trying to stir up waters to catch a fish, it didn't translate as well. It translated to like me bullying somebody. So I never was really good at this particular, um, law. People would shut down. Like if I tried to stir them up, people would definitely shut down and get scared of me. So I never was great at this law. I'm still not really great at this law as far as stirring up. That's the old cliche as well. Shake the tree for a couple of coconuts to fall out. You gotta
Yeah.
rattle the cage to stir up the animal. Same, all this the same cliche. I'm not um I'm not good at that. Now I'm good at deflecting that. A lot since I'm a bigger dude, 6'1", a lot of people are scared of me, especially in corporate America, and especially at the job. I have this what's called people have what's called the big dog syndrome. I don't know if you remember as kids used to run. When you see a dog in a yard, you know that it was caged up, and you'll run at it just to see if it'll bark, and if it wouldn't bark, you'll see this dog he's docile, but if it'll bark and try to jump on the fence, oh, he's a bad dog. So I'm saying that to say this: people are trying to test me, especially in corporate America, to see if I was a bad dog or a docile dog. Because they knew they had this cage around that I couldn't do them anything in corporate America. So they definitely would try to test me. So they would try to stir up the waters to try to catch me off guard, to try to piss me off. And I would use the reverse of this, and I would always stay calm, and it would puzzle them. You know, and
Yeah.
I would slice them up verbally, but stay calm, which would puzzle them, which would be even more resentful, until I learned how to make jokes out of it, and that's a whole nother thing. I learned this from Dale Carnegie book, how to influence friends, how to make friends and influence people. So, boom. I don't want to stay too long on this law, but go ahead, run it.
It's an important one, like you said, try to stir up the cage and stay calm yourself. I'm pretty good at that. Like, someone gets angry at me and starts yelling at me, I just I don't laugh at them, but I mean, I chuckle to myself a little bit because, it makes them look ridiculous. And, even says right here, angry people usually end up looking ridiculous.
Right.
Nothing in the game of power is personal, and occasionally outbursts can be powerful, but use anger too often, and it loses its power. It loses its lust. So I see that happen all the time in the real world. People getting angry all the time, and it's such a waste of energy. It makes you look stupid. It's sure, you get angry, that's fine. But I mean, you can't really solve anything out of it. It's like a joke. And then I think I've been angry 3 times my whole life. It's such a weird feeling for me. I'm the nicest guy in the world. And when I get angry, I start shaking real bad because I'm not used to the feeling. I never even use it. It's been 3 times seriously in my whole life I've ever been angry.
Right.
And it's a weird feeling. I don't even like it. It's I lose control. It's scary.
Right. Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
it might work for you, like I said, this particular law, but I'm so naturally, I could say anything and piss people off because people have a stigma about. First of all, I got heavily melanated skin. The number two, I'm a bigger guy, so they want goofy, and the fact that I'm not a goofball scares people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to be a joke, and that makes people feel comfortable. When I'm dead serious and I articulate my words, that's scary. Like holy shit, So
Yeah.
it's scary to most people. So um, they're already stirred by me. So for me to even make them more angry, it doesn't work for me at all. This law does not work for me. Um, I've learned how to on the other side to stay calm when people try to use this on me. But that's if anything, that was the only value of this law is to learn how to stay calm when they try to use this
Mhm.
particular law on me. Let's go to number 40 real fast. Despise the free lunch. Um, I used to try to implement this law all the time, using it actually, and then trying to use it reverse as well. Meaning, I used to try to give free lunches to try to disarm people, and then I tried not to take stuff from anybody. Expecting something in return because I know they expect tenfold in return. I've definitely
Yep.
changed my views nowadays. First of all, not too many people giving out free lunch. I would take it if they do give it out because now I'm more on the relationship side. Building long term relationships. So somebody I'm trying to build a relationship with, especially on a business relationship, and I said on my blog early last week that relationships win championships.
Mhm.
Definitely take the free lunch. Definitely build that relationship. Give and take. Don't keep score, and try to build that relationship from there. Now, as far as giving, yeah, you got to make a deposit before you make a withdrawal. That's in my book. So, I definitely,
Yeah.
uh, I definitely changed my point of view on this law.
Yeah, you get what you get back, right?
Right.
That's how the world works,
Right.
cause and effect. And I agree. I used to probably despise the free lunch. I felt like it was a hand-me-out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how the world works, Like, you get a free lunch, you give a free lunch, and it's all cyclical. You do something nice for somebody, they're
Right.
gonna do something nice for you. Try not to keep score. I like how you put that because it's not about who has the better free lunch.
Right.
It's about the networking. It's
Right.
about how can we build something together because in the long term, it's all about us anyway, right? So
Right. So yeah, I'm definitely more for my views on this particular law. Like I said, it's more about the relationship, give and take, give and get, 50-50 thing.
yeah,
Um, 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
yeah,
This particular one, I've never really had any solid mentors till in my 30s. So this one I couldn't feel 17 years ago. Um, and even now, I disagree. I want to not only step into somebody else's shoes, but I want to exceed somebody else's path. Not
it's
anybody in
hard.
particular, but people that came before us. I think we not only supposed to match what they've done, but even do greater works. That's just my opinion of that.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's very difficult to be, especially in the public spotlight. Is probably the hardest part of it. It's because everyone's like testing you all the time, every second, every little action that you take, and you're going to be scrutinized. Like Tim Cook and Steve Jobs, and there's a whole bunch of other examples. Like you have to be careful to tread, and if you are going to step into the shoes, you better be willing to do everything it takes to be able to produce that greatness, because the greatness is already there. It's a lot easier to fall from greatness than to build it all the way to the top.
Gotcha, gotcha. Again, I don't like this law. I never did like this law, so we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going past this one right here. I did, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
I never did like this one. 42. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. This is
It's
perfectly what we
very,
were talking
yeah.
about earlier.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and this has been used. This is if you, refer to the show. If you want to really get deep into it, go to the show. There is no spoon. Earlier, we talked about this kind of in depth. That's kind of what the show is about. Um, in reverse. My point is that we talked about like a little bit about how slavery, the chattel slavery 250 years ago, is still in effect. I think it's more of a boogeyman thing than actuality. The propaganda is what keeps it going. So, um, what I mean by that is that you kill one, you scare 1,000. That's one of the art of war laws. And that's what people use. You one person something might adverse might happen to, but you paralyze and you scare 1,000 other people from actually taking action. So
Yep.
um, it's just that's one of the laws. How you can use this in business is that if you're managing, a group of people and a large group of people, um, you always want to have one as an example, especially if they steal from you or they do something adverse to the company. You got to make that person an example. Once you do make that person an example, it scares the rest of them from ever doing that again.
Yeah.
And that's just what that is. That's how I've always used that law, and that's it hasn't changed. It's ironclad.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's why when people read this book, right, they give you different examples and different opinions on all the perceptions and like spectacles of the different tiers of the individual. Like when you read it, you can like see different points of view wherever you are on your journey in life, or if you're a good person or a bad person or whatever. And I just got done reading this book about the Nazis, and like it's so messed up. They use this law all the time, like you said. They make an example. I'm not even going to repeat what they were doing to like keep the sheep in line because it was messed up, man. It was not pretty. So when you're hearing these laws, you
Right.
always want to try to do the better thing, and not use it for, I guess, diabolical purposes.
Well, I mean, everybody now, like I said, Bill Cosby, anybody that they make an example out of everybody to kind of paralyze everybody. So you
Michael Jackson.
yeah, so they'll take you and they'll make an example out of you, and then that paralyze that fear freezes you from ever taking action. So um, the next one, let's go 43. We're moving along, so not that many left. Work on the hearts and minds of others. This is a law that I didn't like, but I like. I like it now. I mean, you got like this is what we talk about all the time. Man is mine. And the second, like I said, the heart is kind of connected to the mind. Um, that particular chakra, the way to the mind is through the heart. So uh, you got to, especially with business. Let's keep this on the business level. Like I just said, relationships win championships. And when I just learned at the sales academy that I just came from, again, the best always trying to get better. Even though I have a published book, I still went to a sales academy and learned how to, with Todd Duncan, learn how he sells. And one of the things he said is that your whys or your reasons have to be similar in order for to do business or form a business relationship. If your whys and your reasons are not similar, you won't have a good relationship. So our particular why, our reason has to be the same. So this is what we do in the Power of Ownership podcast. We're trying to change the world through positive affirmations. So meaning that this is going to strike the heart and strike the minds of people that's similar to us, and then from there, in turn, they're going to want to do business with us.
Mhm.
So
When you're leading people too in a company or in a business, you have to work on the hearts and minds. That's what a manager does. You have to be able to manage your employees to get them to work for you and work with you. And the best companies always have the best employees because they like working. They have that heart, the strength, and the mind to keep it all going.
right, so you have to have something greater than just the money. and it has to be something that you both relate to in order for it to work. Basically, is what I take it as. Let's go to 44. Disarm and infiltrate with the mirror effect. Um, I mean, with this law, like I said, I struggled with this back in the days, but now I'm great at it. Um, because, and well, to the certain, I'm terrible at a base level at it. So, what they say with enemies or people that try to impede my progress is what I call them. They're haters. I can't be a hater, so it's hard for me
For
to
sure.
mirror what they do. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but at a greater level, when we talked about the 1%, I could see on a managerial standpoint what they're trying to do and why they have to do it this way. So I can
For
mirror
sure.
them. So the effects I got, and I was in turn helped me see who the true enemy is. The true enemy is not the one that's actually pulling the strings. The true enemy is the people that look like me that's trying to fight for a system that they don't understand.
Yeah. I like to reference two shows like The Office TV show. They actually do a really good job. They explain this rule like in like 2 episodes with
Right.
this one character, and he's like personality matching or mirroring. Always agreeing with them. It's like playing the suck up job, and to being able to mirror another person and be able to instantly connect with them and be able to use that law in effect is actually a pretty important thing to be able to communicate. And then there's also there's one other show I actually just forgot about it, but they also do a really good job. It's like you have to be able to mirror to be able to, I guess, sell, especially when you're selling something, right? You have to be able to sell to the person's interests and their feelings and all that stuff.
Right, definitely. I definitely agree on the selling tip. You definitely want to mirror a person and kind of get into that person's world. But when I originally read this law, it kind of had about enemies, so I never really took it as a sales thing. I talk about I always took it as a haters type of thing, and I really
Okay,
can't mirror, and I really don't want. I didn't like to have haters in my vicinity, so I
for
didn't really
sure.
be
Please
like,
tell
yeah, so
them.
I kind of avoided them, so now again, like I said, when I look on the upper 1%, what they're trying to do, I definitely can mirror their different tactics because I can see where they're trying to go with it from a cult standpoint. So I definitely use this law now as opposed to then when I didn't really understand it. Um,
You have
45
to
reach
be
the need for
careful.
change. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you have to be careful too. When you have mirrors, they can always bounce back and forth, so you got to always be careful.
Right, definitely. 46, we're almost done. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. This is what I've always talked about. 1 degree per generation. Everybody wants to radically change the system, um, or destroy the system. You can't destroy the program. If you remember in the Matrix, Neo made a deal with the machines to keep the party going. You change 1 degree, make it a little bit better for the next generation. That's it. You try to. How you gonna destroy the system? You don't have nothing to replace it with. Not what people want to do.
Exactly.
So the system is not perfect, but at the same time, incrementally it's getting better and better. It takes people like us that's going to be the doers, that's going to actually push reform and change a generation at a time.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I was trying to explain to like a friend of mine when I was in Colorado. He was trying to be like, why are you driving the car and leaving the car on? Like, it's like you're destroying the environment, blah, 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 blah. Like, how can you be a good person and be driving all the time? I'm just like, dude, like, slow down, pump the brakes, like, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's going to take like 50 years to fix the gasoline problems and switch it to green energy, like, it's not going to change overnight. It's like, it could change, but you just have the wrong attitude. I'm like, dude, That's not how the world works. You want to change something, it does take a little time, because if you try to change it too fast, that's when bad things happen. That's when the rebellions and everything like that happen. People start to get pushy, and so you gotta slowly change it over the course of years.
Right. So yeah,
And the guy didn't understand that at all.
right.
He was like, "Why did it change?" I'm like, "Dude, that's not how it works. Slow down."
Yeah. Well, nothing happens with the snap of a. Not in this dimension. This is not how we get it. Got it. The agreement that we came upon. Nothing happened instant in this particular density. Um, but yeah, change happens incrementally. That's the only way you're going to get it done. If you want to change something radically, that's where you in what army? What army you going to have the change, and then how are you going to do this? By what methodology are you going to do this? So a lot of people that talk have no clue on how to actually make change happen. They're just talking. They're actually just spouting off different views, and they have no real game plan on how to actually do this. So
Yeah, it's a gift.
right.
It really is.
The next 46 never appear too perfect. This was a hard law for me. This was a hard law for me because I have in my mind, again, this might not be true, already barriers that strikes against me. In this particular society, they unfortunately they judge you by your epidermic layer and the actual the hue. Then they judge you by your size. Then they judge you by where you're from. Then they judge you by they got all these type of different things. They judge you by silly stuff, superficial stuff, but you're actually getting to know you. So what I used to do, and what I've practicing since just perfecting everything else. So perfecting my speech, perfecting my interactions, perfecting how I talk. So I perfected it so much that it's hard to win an argument with me because I'm so polished in this particular realm. As far as I'm a think before I speak and all that stuff like that. So when I rebuttal, is well thought out and it's layered. That's hardly nobody. You can't counterpunch it,
Yeah, for sure.
and that frustrates people. So again, this law particularly perplexed me because it's like you know I it's kind of counterintuitive for me. So try to over just like with a blind man, his hearing becomes uncanny. So in this particular society, people judge me. So I made my speech and my arguments and my everything just locked tight. You can't really argue with me. You can't so that actually scares people. It's actually I agree with the law, but I struggle with actually executing the law. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like it causes other people anxiety to be
Right,
around you,
right,
almost, right?
right. No doubt.
And so I've noticed those things too as of recently. And so like what I do is I play dumb on
Right.
purpose.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I'll play it, man. If someone thinks I'm dumb, I'll play along. Like I'll just it's kind of fun too in a way. Like I was saying earlier, it's just because like people don't like it the only downside is if you can play too well. Like say if you're actually playing too dumb, then they'll never take you seriously. So
Right.
it's a real fine line of like how to appear not perfect and then perfect at the same time. Because when you try to switch it, then people won't take you seriously.
Right.
Like I'm like, dude, like I'm being 100% serious. Like this is how we change things. But when you're playing dumb or stupid all the time, no one will ever believe you.
It's crazy because you have to seem lower than your mark. This was one of the earlier laws in order for people to feel comfortable around you, which is crazy. I would think you would want to be around the smartest and brightest people, but people don't want that. When you're around smart people get intellectually insecure and they go into a shell. So that's one of the problems of my life. I when I speak, I'm gonna speak with authority. I'm gonna speak with precision, and that scares people. People, and it's hard for me to laugh at a joke that's not funny. I'll sit there, yeah,
I agree.
yeah, I'll sit there and
That's
stare
right.
at you like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's one of. I don't have a fake laugh. I don't have a, it's hard for me to play dumb, and that's probably why I'm not in a relationship. I think one of my rules to relationship, as far as, um, marriage type thing, is because I think you have to either be dumb or play dumb.
Yeah.
So
Unless
you got to
you be
ignore a lot of
a
stuff.
married couple with someone, yeah.
You got
That's the
to
hardest part. Yeah, find them
Yeah, you got to be
hard.
dumb or play dumb. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just what that is. That's why I don't like working at offices long term either, because that's like a relationship. You got to kind of be dumb or play dumb. You got to kind
Yep.
of let a lot of stuff slide. And a lot of stuff that you got to kind of act like you don't see it. you know,
That's hard for me, and that's when you can start combining like the different laws. Like combine this one with timing too.
right,
Like you said, in a business, you see things that go by because in the future you might have an opportunity to change it, right?
right, right. So yeah, I struggle with this law. Always did. People. Um, it's just what it is, and like I said, I've gotten better. I've let a lot of things go. Stuff that I would normally argue my point, I kind of just let it go. Now, if people feel some type of way because I talk, I'm articulate, and I just don't, I don't. We used to call it back in the days. We don't shuck and jive. I'm not the shuck and jive type, and so be it. You don't need
Mm-hmm.
to be around me. I don't have time to entertain you. I get paid to entertain.
Yep.
So that people want me, hey, so hey man, I ain't got time for that, man. Look, this is, this, I need whoop, 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 blah, 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 and that's it. So, 47. Do not go past the mark you aim for. In victory, learn when to stop.
It's important,
Right.
real important.
Um,
It's like the Midas touch, King Midas
right.
got too much gold. And, yeah.
Right. I struggle with this because I'm an overachiever. I think, and this is going to be on the actual the actual intro. I got XXX Tentacion little speech, about 40 seconds of his speech, where he says, set your goals, and goals are what makes life worth living. Other than that, I can't tell you the last time I've been bored. Because I've always had goals, and then if I reach those goals, I've always, put a new set of goals
Set
for me.
higher. Yeah.
So for me, I struggle with this law because if I do hit a target, then I might already have another target already in mind to hit again. So
Yeah, but that's not going past your mark, right? Because you already know what your mark is.
right,
You know how many goals it's going to take to finally get to where you want to go, right? So I wouldn't say that's going too fast, or too far,
right.
in my opinion. But,
Well, my thing is, like I said, my mind frame is this: if I can get this, then I feel like I can get this. If I get this, then I feel like I can get this. That's why I'm not married, because if I get Beyonce, then I think I can get whoever. If I get whoever, then I get whoever. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly want to upgrade and actually outdo myself. So that's kind of my personality. I always try to do better, and so I'm always gonna go past the mark I aim for. I'm aim for it, and then I'm gonna have another target already in mind. That's just
yeah,
me.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I always shoot for. I mean, even right now, in my current predicament or my life right now, I'm working too hard. I don't know if that's even a real thing, but for my peace of mind, I have too much on my plate at this current moment. But I know I have to do these things because no matter what, I can do it. Even if I won't be able to do it, I know it's testing your limits in a way. Like you test them, you keep pushing yourself further and further, and that's why we're here. We're like it's like Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. They're always fighting, testing each other, beating each other up, pushing their bodies to the furthest point of pure exhaustion. That okay, like you recover, you do it again, and you do it again. I think when you have to stop is when you complete what you're here to do. Everyone is different. Everyone has different goals. in the end, only the individual knows what their end game is, and when you get to the end game, then it's finally time to rest, right?
Gotcha, gotcha. Last
Does that make
one,
sense?
and we're finished the 48 Laws of Power finally. Like I said, we're gonna probably do another Robert Greene book, and we got more. We're getting back to the normal format of the Power of Ownership podcast right after this, where we have the guest stars and different things like that. But 48, assume formlessness. You know, like Bruce Lee said, be water, my friends. You always gotta be water. Um, you know, the thing about it is that water you conforms. You conform, and it's twofold. You enough water, a steady drip could break a dam, or like I said, you could also be lucid enough to, um, conform to anything, conform to a ship, conform to a baby. You know what I mean? So you gotta be able to be well rounded. Is what I should say. So assume formlessness, especially in business. One of my favorite movies, Lord of War. The main thing is he said with Nicolas Cage. He said, never go to war, especially with yourself. So that's one of the main things is that the middleman is the best businessman. So you never take sides. That's why you'll never hear politics on this show. You know, it just is what it is, man. Like I said, I want business from everybody. I'm not isolating anybody. That's the thing, So go ahead.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, right? You gotta be able to morph, shape, change, adapt, learn, unlearn. You gotta do all these things. You have to be able to live life, have fun, study, and you have to realize too the world is hard. It's not an easy place. People are mean. The world is can be kind of dark sometimes. You have to learn how to live positively. You gotta shape and be formless, really formless. You gotta be able to float in the air pressure, and you gotta be able to swim under the sea. You have to be able to do it all if you want to live in it. Even if you want to play the game, right? You have to learn how to work all these laws. You gotta play the game. You gotta learn how to do it
Right,
if you want to see it. If you want to see it at the table, at least.
right. I mean, that's the game plan. You gotta outdo yourself, and stretch yourself to limits that you never thought you could do. And that's the key to business.
Yep.
Again, don't take sides. Don't take a stand on certain things. At least not in the public. Now, behind closed doors, yes, this could be your, this could be your game plan. This is what I take a stand on. This is what I stand for. But at the same time, I'm gonna open my doors to everybody. I'm gonna take everybody's business that want to do business with me. That's just what it is. So you can't just be, hey, turn down somebody's business. Because they have opposition to your opposition. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you best service I can. At the same time, your money's going to help me um, take my goals to, or reach my goals, should I say? That's just what it is. Again, we're not going to keep you that long. That was the 48 Laws of Power. Go check the old videos if you want to see the earlier laws. We have some monumental ones.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting back to the normal show format starting this week in September, where we have the special guests. We're going to have the different topics and stuff like that. We might do another read before like the end of the year. My second book should be out before the end of the year. That's coming out soon. In the meantime, a copy of this right here. Sales, the nucleus of any profession. It's available right now. If you need a mortgage, right now is mortgage time. Go to www.hocmortgage.com. It's not too late. I know kids are in school or whatever. Find something in your school district. So we'll definitely instead of paying rent, go ahead and find something in your school district. Stop paying rent. Get into a house. At Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. At BillionaireLoanOfficer.com is out right now. So you want to book me for motivational speech, sales training, mentorship, get at me. My schedule is open pretty much. It's spotted for the rest of the year, but I do have a lot of openings. So get at me and go from there. Steve, you got anything coming up you want to plug real fast before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think our next video on the power of ownership, we're going to be doing a feature Phil. He's a good friend of mine, musician, travels overseas. He's a DJ, and he's going to be our guest speaker on our next video. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm happy to have him on.
Gotcha. You guys stay tuned for that. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, remember that God is a verb and personal responsibility is your only savior. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Yeah, peace. Looking forward to it. Is it off?
Not yet. Hold on a second.